How's it going, everybody? I'm Ryan and welcome back to Minus the Gym. And in this video, we're going to talk about 3 different methods for transitioning to a plant-based diet. 2 of these methods are really common. A lot of people just do them naturally, but one of the methods that's not so popular, I believe, is the best method to use when transitioning. So we're going to talk about that as well at the end of the video. Also, here you can see I have a pineapple and some mangoes. These were on sale. So I'm gonna whip up some breakfast. It's going on noon. It's about 11:50 a.m. And I'm gonna show you what I make. All right, so I got a light set up. It's really dark in here today, so hopefully you can see me okay. If I move my head, you can see the ring light right there. And this is the final product here. This is pineapple mango salsa. All right, this is something that I make quite a bit in the summertime. Me and my wife absolutely love it. We put it on tacos and things like that, but I also like to enjoy it just as a fruit salad. So what I have here is 4 Atulfo mangoes. Those are the yellow mangoes, and I diced them up. And then half a pineapple, also diced up, and about maybe 3 tablespoons of hemp seeds and some cilantro. And you can squeeze a lime over it too, but I didn't have any limes. But it's absolutely delicious as a fruit salad, or like I said, on top of things as a salsa. All right. It's so good. You know, the way the pineapple and mango go together is just perfect. And I add the hemp seeds just for some protein and fat when I'm making a meal out of it. And the cilantro on top is just a perfect little zing. So yeah, make sure you try that out. But let's talk about transitioning to a plant-based diet. Because like I mentioned, there's really 2 main ways that people do it, okay? And I refer to these kind of as analogies as diving in and tiptoeing. And what I'm referring to there is like when you're getting into a cold pool. You know, some people like to just dive in head first and adjust to the water immediately, while other people prefer to tiptoe into the pool and sort of adjust as they go. And both ways are fine and correct. There's no right or wrong way, but they each have their pros and cons, and that's what I want to talk about first. So first, let me explain my transition to a plant-based diet, because I used the diving in method. And that's because a friend of mine who I went to high school with, and we got back in touch after college, he lived like 2 blocks down from me, it turned out. And he heard about my health issues. I told him that I was struggling with high blood pressure and some other things. And he told me about the plant-based diet, and he coached me. Luckily, I had a coach on how to switch to plant-based. And what he had me do was dive in, not just with a standard whole food plant-based diet, but with a raw diet, meaning everything I ate for like over a month was just raw fruits and vegetables and raw nuts and seeds. Now, obviously that's really extreme and it's not something I necessarily recommend for everyone, but I'm going to tell you what the main advantage to diving in like that and going full bore like as much as you can. It's the stark contrast that is created between the diet you were eating and this new plant-based diet that you're trying out. And the more you can create that contrast, the more you feel the real power behind a plant-based diet. And I think that is really what made me stick to it and kind of like, you know, fall in love with plant-based nutrition. In my case, diving in with raw plant-based food meant I was eating fruit, just like one type of fruit for breakfast, like watermelon, for example, and then one type of fruit for lunch, like strawberries, and then a big green salad for dinner. And let me tell you, holy cow, I was sitting on the toilet minimally like 5 or 6 times a day, and it was explosive. But I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. It wasn't bad like I had diarrhea and like I didn't feel good. I actually felt fantastic. My skin was glowing and the whites of my eyes were really clear and I had lots of energy. There was really no discomfort aside from every time I had to go to the bathroom, it felt like I was about to explode and it was pretty urgent. But after about 5 or 6 days, I can't remember exactly how long it took because keep in mind, this was over 11 years ago. Finally, I reached this point where everything settled down, and that's because my colon was finally cleared out. You see, all the water and fiber in fruit and also raw vegetables was acting like a wet mop going through my colon and just clearing it out. And that's really the main benefit of like one of the many benefits of switching to plant-based is you get that colon cleansing. You finally don't have 12 to 15 meals backed up in your colon. You get cleared out. And what I noticed was, and I talked to my friend Mike about this, the guy coaching me, I said, dude, whatever I eat, I see it, 18 hours later, it's coming out the other end. And he said, yeah, that's called bowel transit time. And he said, when you get your bowel transit time to like less than 24 hours, that's the golden state right there. That's what you want to be at. And plant-based will get you there. So that was my way of transitioning to plant-based and diving in with raw food. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that for everyone. I think it's great if you want to do it, but you might prefer using whole food, plant-based cooked recipes, which is totally fine as well. You'll still notice that contrast. It just won't be quite as stark. So either way, no matter how you do it, if you dive in, you need to first prepare. You need to spend some time looking at recipe blogs and recipe books and finding recipes that sound like they'd be right up your alley in terms of your preferences and your taste buds. I was thinking a lot of people might click on this video wanting to see like a grocery haul and what I eat in a day kind of thing. And I've made a few of those. I'll put some links down below in the description box so you can check them out. But that's not what I wanted to do in this video because we're all individuals. And what I eat, the way I shop, might not be what you necessarily want to buy and what you want to eat. So it really comes down to you kind of taking the bull by the horns, as they say, and doing some research, finding recipes that look appetizing to you, creating a grocery list, going out and buying everything, and then you just choose that day that you're going to start going 100% plant-based. Now, the disadvantage to diving in is that, of course, this can be really challenging and it can shock your system and shock you psychologically. So if you're the kind of person that's better off easing into habitual changes, then I recommend the next method, and that's tiptoeing into the plant-based diet. And the way I recommend doing that is by taking it one meal at a time. So for example, let's say currently, I don't know, what do people eat? Like an English muffin and some bacon and eggs, right? Like that's your breakfast most mornings. So what you'd want to do, one method is to take a look at that meal and say, how can I make this healthier and plant-based, right? So maybe use a 100% whole wheat English muffin. That's better than refined flour, right? And instead of eggs, do a tofu scramble with a bunch of different vegetables and stuff, and just get rid of the bacon because you don't want that. If you want, when you're transitioning, you can use some fake bacon or fakin, because they do make that stuff. They make like plant-based bacon, but I would do that planning to get rid of it eventually once you've fully transitioned. And now your breakfast is healthy and plant-based, right? A 100% whole grain English muffin with a tofu scramble and veggies. There you go. And once you get used to that, maybe try another couple breakfast recipes like a smoothie, maybe some oatmeal or millet, some kind of hot cereal like that. And once you're comfortable with your breakfast being plant-based, then you start looking at lunch. Like, okay, what do I usually eat for lunch and how can I make that healthier and plant-based? Or what other recipes do I want to try? And then it's the same thing. Once breakfast and lunch are both healthy and plant-based, then you look at dinner. Now here's one of the main advantages of what I like about the tiptoeing method, and this is what kind of separates me from a lot of the other YouTube creators who are plant-based or vegan. I don't believe everyone should be 100% plant-based, and I know this for a fact, because some people, their conversion of second-level nutrients is just not what it should be. Like conversion of ALA to DHA, and there's other examples as well, but that's a topic for a whole nother video. The point is that some people, if they eat 100% plant-based, they're not going to feel quite right in the long term, which is why with the tiptoeing method, you can take it one meal at a time, make sure you feel good along the way, and if at any point, like let's say you go 100% plant-based and you're feeling kind of not right, you can always add fish or eggs or meat back to your diet until you figure out what you might have been doing wrong or troubleshoot any deficiencies. But the disadvantage to tiptoeing is that you don't get that stark contrast that I was talking about. I'm telling you, the fruit flush, the way I did it, just diving in with a raw vegan diet, holy cow. It creates such a contrast that there's no doubt in my mind that that's the way we are supposed to eat for sure. And I really believe it's that contrast that gets people to really light up and love the plant-based diet. Now, I promised you a third method that is not quite as popular, and it's definitely the most difficult to do, but in my opinion, it's the best. And what is that method? Well, it's juice fasting. Okay, I made a video about a year ago now where I did, every year I do some sort of raw cleanse, and last year was a juice cleanse. So if you want to know how to juice cleanse, make sure you check out that video. I explain in quite a lot of detail how to do it. The beauty of a juice fast or a juice cleanse is that you're essentially fasting. You're not taking in any solid food. So your digestive system gets a complete break, and there's healing that takes place. But on top of it, you also get that colon cleansing that I talked about when you dive in, especially with raw food. With no solid food in your system during a juice cleanse, you're still going to find yourself going number 2 at least once a day, sometimes more, and that's going to go on for, upwards of a week, even 2 weeks for some people. And when that happens, it really gets you to realize, like, wow, I'm not eating any solid food, yet solids are coming out of me. It shows you that your colon gets so backed up from the standard Western diet that it's no wonder why people don't feel good. So the idea is you want to keep doing the juice cleanse until you have a day with no bowel movements. And then you can assume that, all right, you're cleared out, everything's good. And that's when you reintroduce solid food, but you have to do it right. You got to reintroduce with water-dense fruit first. I like using oranges or watermelon. John Rose, who's like an expert on juice fasting, recommends you break the fast with prunes that were soaked in water. I mean, everyone's got their own methods, but the idea is you want something soft and water dense, and that will gently ease you back onto solid food. You want to do that for the majority of a day, and then you can start, with some other fruits, and then the second day you can start doing some vegetables and see how you feel. But once you ease back into solid food, then you can move on to a cooked food diet if you want. Most people will. And there you go. And now you just start doing plant-based recipes, right? All the whole food plant-based stuff. I'll put links down below to different blogs and good resources for recipes. But that is, in my opinion, the best way to sort of dive into, not just transition, but dive into the plant-based lifestyle, because you get that juice fast to clean you out. You feel so fantastic. It gives you that stark contrast, and then you kind of ease into a whole food plant-based diet when you go back to solid food. But of course, the downside to juice fasting is that you need a juicer, and that's really expensive, and it's just not easy. I mean, come on, doing a juice fast, especially if you have to go to work every day, it's not easy. You got to juice all that stuff in the morning and bring it with you in a cooler or something. So for some people, it's just a big challenge and kind of out of the question. All right, everybody, I hope those 3 methods really helped illustrate how you can transition to a plant-based diet. Again, if you're looking for recipes and what to eat, that's a very individual thing. So check out recipe blogs and recipe books. There's tons out there. If you want to work with me one-on-one, I also offer consultations, right? Zoom consultations. So I can help you. There's email support following that consultation as well. So if you want more information on that, I'll put links in the description box down below. It's all down there. So good luck transitioning. Trust me, plant-based is awesome. Even if you can't do it 100%, even if you go just 2/3 and you do plant-based breakfast and lunch and a dinner with meat or fish, that's still fantastic for your body, and it's better than putting animal products into your body every single meal. All right? So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to learn more from me, and I'll see you next time. Talk to you then.